And we're live. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Awakening Summit. For those of you, if this is your first interview that you're watching, oh my gosh, this has been the most incredible summit. I think one of the most favorite ones I've ever been involved in. So many amazing women, so many people with incredible medicine to share. My name is Tamala Ridge. I'm an addiction specialist and a spiritual companioning mentor. And today I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing my new friend. I'm going to be hanging out with her more after this. My new friend, Natalie Ann Murray. And Natalie is a relationships makeover expert. Welcome, Nat. Yay.
Hello, Tamala, over there in Western Australia.
Yeah, Nat's currently traveling around in a caravan. I'll let her tell you where she is, in Victoria, some amazing bay somewhere.
We're still in New South Wales, going down the south coast, but we're in a little place called Eden at the moment, which is about 50 k's south of the Victorian border. So all the Victorians have been locked in lockdown for so long, they're like busting to get out.
I bet. They're standing at the border and you could just about wave to them. They're all ready to run.
Yep, they are. They certainly are. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, we've got someone joining us. I can't see what their name is. Someone said, hello, gorgeous. Hello, gorgeous. Thanks for joining.
Hello, gorgeous, wherever you are.
So, Nat, tell me, how does one become a relationships expert makeover? Tell us a little bit about your story and how you ended up being this amazing person that you are today.
Oh, well, I think I might go a little bit backwards. I think the turning point, well, I've always had 20 years experience in mental health, professionally in mental health, healing from child abuse and trauma, healing from codependency and addictions, family therapy, all of that stuff. But in that 20 years, I was obviously doing my own work all the way through that as well. So, and helping other people, obviously. But 5 years ago, after being married to my second husband, I realized that for the first 5 years of our marriage, I had been in pain pretty much the whole time. I had felt this pain in my solar plexus that was like stabbing in my gut. It was painful. I was triggered by him so much, and I was always wanting to leave. That's it. I just need to leave. He's the wrong person. This is over. And I just got to this point where I thought, no, this is crazy. Like, I realized one day that I felt like I was living my mother's life. I realized my mum and my dad, my husband and I had the same dynamic between us that my mum and my dad had and that my grandparents had. And I'm like, wait a minute, all of this stuff that I keep getting triggered into, it's actually not my stuff. I've worked on all of my inner child stuff. I've done all of my trauma healing in this lifetime. Where does this intense fear and anger and resentment and hate and hurt come from? And I realized it was really deep down inside of me. So I went searching for a solution to cut those reactions, those triggers at the deepest core, so I could actually see my husband in a completely new light with new eyes. And I found that, and I'm still married today, happily married today. We've been on the road for nearly 4 weeks. We haven't had one argument, one raised. What the hell has happened? And my husband goes, you've changed. I'm going, I have changed. I changed me fundamentally at the deepest core, trusting that if I changed me, I was going to send this different energetic vibe out there that was somehow going to, change him. And that's kind of what happened. So then I just really wanted to share that deep change with so many other people who I know are like me. The healers, the mentors, the coaches, the leaders, they're out there, they're, being confident and trying to help other people to be confident and happy, but they've got their own shit going on behind the scenes. And it can feel really painful to feel like a fraud. And that's how I felt. I felt like, who am I to get up there and say this stuff when I'm just struggling inside, the inner turmoil? It was crazy.
Yeah.
So,
oh my God. I love that, Nat. Yeah.
I know. And I people say to me, do you work with couples? I'm like, no. If a woman can fundamentally change herself at the deepest level, so she's no longer operating from fear and insecurity and old conditioning, man, she suddenly becomes incredibly powerful, and she can have this ripple effect out that affects every relationship in her life. So I only work with her because I know she can change everything.
Yes. Oh my God. So freaking powerful, because how many people walk around like this, go, it's your fault, blame, judgment, projection, anger, and which actually makes us the victims of our own life. If we think it's everybody else's fault, then it actually says we've got no control over this situation. But what you're saying is, and what I totally agree with, is it's all about us, 100% about us. And I know you talk about this this big important decision that people need to be ready to make or to encounter in order to make these changes. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, yes, I will. But I want to firstly share this with you because I titled the talk "How to End Drama," and you just shared about how we as a society, we're a blame society. We go around going, "It's all your fault. It's all your fault. It's all your fault." We feel like victims and we spin around. But most people haven't really seen that picture. Can you see that over here?
Yes, just hold it up a tiny bit higher. Yep, right there. Perfect.
This is what we call the drama triangle. And when you're in a drama, you're either playing one of three roles. You're either being a persecutor, otherwise called a bully, where you're judging and you're controlling and you're putting the finger, or you're feeling like a victim down here on the other side. You're helpless, you're hopeless, somebody's doing it to you, somebody's making you feel this way, or you're feeling triggered into the rescuer where you've got to rescue this poor helpless person over here. And you become a bit of a martyr running around doing everything for everyone else because you think, oh my God, I have to do it or the whole world's going to fall apart and it's not going to be my fault, right? This is totally unconscious, but it's the way we play out in society. But until we recognize the parts that we play in drama, we can't change. We won't change because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. But what I know for sure is there's the energy of fear over here. The energy of fear is feeding that. It's feeding that whole cycle. Everybody involved there has fear on some level. Yes. And then the other two things that fuel that are anger and resentment and guilt and shame.
Yep.
Fear, anger,
you got the whole soup happening there.
Right? So much energy going there. If somebody is struggling in any relationship in their life, whether it's their husband, their partner, their parents, their siblings, their friends, there is some level of drama going on. There's absolutely no doubt about it. So the decision, the powerful decision that has to be made, first of all, is, am I prepared to show up fully in my power, in my absolute authenticity, in my purity, in my unconditional love, in my true voice, even if I risk losing love? Even if I risk the approval of this other person that means so much to me.
Yeah.
Am I prepared to live true to myself no matter what?
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the hook. It's the hook, isn't it? That people get stuck in.
Is the hook.
They're not prepared. They're not yet.
Do not want to give up that validation, that approval, that being liked, because it challenges the very core fear that we all have, that we're going to be abandoned and we're going to die, we're going to be kicked out of the tribe, right? Yes. That's what drives us. So something generally has to happen for someone to say, no, I am going to be true to myself no matter what. And all those times I was leaving my husband, man, I seriously was praying to God and I was saying, God, I was like convinced I'd married the wrong person. I was convinced I'd married the wrong person. And I'm like, God, please, you have to show me where, what's happening here. What am I not getting? Did I marry the wrong person or not? And every time I'd get the message, Nat, you are there because you need to be there. You have not got the lesson yet. When you get the lesson, you can choose to leave that marriage with absolute peace in your heart and honor and respect and total love for the both of you. There will not be any angst. There will not be any conflict. There will not be any drama. But you haven't learned that lesson yet. So you got to stay. Like, no.
And even if we did leave, and we would then take it to the next relationship. Yeah. So we may as well sort it out here.
That's exactly what happens. And so that's where, and I mean, you know, I had the usual bitch and whinge moan like a lot of women do. You go, oh, why should I have to do all this work? My husband, he refuses to go to counselling. You know, my husband has still to this day ever to go to counselling, ever to do any personal development, ever to do anything like that, right? But our relationship has still changed. And here's the thing. This is the moment when I had to actually realise what a brat I still was. I was an emotional brat. I had all of this knowledge up here, frigging degrees, this, that, and the other, but emotionally I was a brat. And the way I got my needs met was through manipulation and control and sucking up to him and all of this stuff. And I remember one day we had this big fight and I said, what the hell do you want from me? And he just looked at me with such genuine, like, what? What are you talking about? And he goes, Nat, I didn't marry you for what I could get from you. I married you for what I could give to you. I don't get you. And I was like, what? This man is a genuine human being. He knows how to unconditionally love me, expects nothing from me, just wants to give the best of himself. I'm like, I can't do that. And that's when I realized I was living a conditional loving life. I was conditionally loving everybody in my life, including myself. I'll only love you when you lose 20 kilos, when you succeed in business, when you do this, when you do that. And that's how I was loving everybody else. Yet I was coming across as little miss, I can do no wrong. I'm the most loving person in the entire world.
Yeah, of course. Perfect.
I had to call myself on my own bullshit and realize I really wasn't an unconditional loving person at all. And that's when I recognized it was this playing out over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
So I had to take everything that I already knew about boundaries and drama and actually live it. Take it out of my head, put it in my body and live it in every single relationship. So the decision was, am I prepared to be an authentic woman of integrity in every single relationship of my life? Not, I'm going to be nice to this person, but I'm still going to hate on that person because, you know, they don't, you know, whatever. It's across the board. So if someone comes to work with me and they go, I just want you to fix my relationship with my husband, but my mother's a real bitch, so don't ask me to forgive her. I'm like, sorry, lady, you're not yet, because you're still holding on to some pain there, for some justification. You're not ready yet. This is 100% accountability and integrity across the board.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that, because how we relate to one person is really a reflection of how we're going to relate to all people. It's just a microcosm. We're going to get triggered very similar in all sorts of different relationships. And the ones closest to us, our children, our mothers, our partners, are going to be the biggest triggers. So they're the biggest opportunities for growth and spiritual awareness. Yeah.
They certainly are, and yet they tend to come in the face of the hardest. Yeah, they're the most difficult people to get along with. And when I really accepted that, I went, okay, my husband's in my life to teach me the greatest spiritual lessons of my life. Am I actually prepared to go there?
Yes.
Am I prepared to look deep within myself and let go of fears, insecurities, judgments, blame, anger, resentment, hurt, all of my own fears of not being good enough, my own fears of being abandoned? That's my shit. That's not his shit. That's my shit. You know? Thankfully, I was willing to go. Thankfully, I was willing to go there, and I found the way to do it. So I'm like, hey, man, all of that just seems completely ridiculous now. It doesn't even resonate.
So true.
Yeah.
So powerful. And then we get to take the power back, don't we? We get to empower ourselves by stepping out of that victim role and knowing that it's totally within our control to make changes. And I love that triangle, and I actually teach that as well. And knowing that it only takes one role in that triangle to change, to affect, and to stop perpetuating the other roles. Yeah.
That's exactly. Once you make the decision that you're not going to be controlled by all of this unconscious fear anymore, that knee-jerk reaction, the need to blame, if you find yourself getting sucked into any of these roles, you can just notice it and go, no, that's not okay with me. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping back. I'm taking a step back, and I'm going to now look at this whole situation through the lens of love, through the lens of power, through the lens of responsibility. And
Yes.
once one person steps out, the whole thing collapses and falls apart. But again,
Yes.
that's risky as hell, because shit, what if I start doing things differently? What if I start relating to people differently? What if I start showing up differently? I don't buy into this stuff anymore. Are people going to think I'm boring? Are people going to think, oh, who is she? Who does she think she is? Up there on her little, what do you call it?
Pedestal.
Pious thing up there, if you don't,
Yeah.
I don't want to get engaged in gossip anymore. It's negative energy. It sucks the life out of me. Does that mean I think I'm better than everyone else? No, it means I'm not going there for me, because it's bad for me, and it's not who I want to be.
Yeah. Oh my God, so powerful. I bet every single woman who's watching this goes, oh, I need to come and work with Nat. Oh my God, she's so amazing.
Well, you can, but not everybody's ready for it. And I think
yes, tell me about that. Tell me about the readiness.
Okay, I said that in a live leading up to this. I described the fact that where I am on the spectrum of the healing journey is I see myself as the last chapter in the book of your past. You have got to be willing to let go of the energy of the past, the old stories of the past. I was abused, I was traumatized, I was abandoned, I was this, I was that, my ex-husband was an asshole, all of that. You've got to be willing to let go of that. And I mean that with the greatest of respect, because the healing journey is a journey, and we all have to go through phases. And I certainly went through all of those phases over 20 years. I remember when I first recognized that I'd been a victim of abuse, I was 30 years old, and I was like, oh my God, I've actually been a victim? You mean it wasn't my fault? You mean I'm screwed up because of this thing that happened? And I remember proudly saying I'm a victim for a long time. And then I went, okay, wait a minute, I've survived this. This happened a long time ago, and I'm still here. Then I proudly owned the label of I am a survivor. I was proud that I'd survived. And then I went into, now I've got a pretty sucky, way of relating to people. I've got to own my codependency. I've got to own my sex and love addiction. So I spent years in the 12-step recovery rooms going, I'm recovering from codependency. I'm recovering from addiction. But guess what? Eventually that got boring. And I'm like, no, I'm outgrown those labels. That's not who I am. I just want to be me. Just me, right here, right now. No past, no future, just right here, right now. But in order to make this kind of change into freedom that I'm talking about, because this is freedom that we're talking about, letting go of all of your own story, letting go of the pain of the past, everything. With freedom comes responsibility. You cannot have freedom without responsibility. Responsibility for your reactions, your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors, everything. Not everybody's ready to go there, because our subconscious mind is so powerful, it wants to keep us safe. So even when a woman comes to me and she goes, that's it, I've had enough, I want to change, I go, really? Are you really ready to change? Or is that just your conscious mind saying you want to change? Because your subconscious mind will have a whole lot of reasons to keep you there. And I can share some of those really common reasons with you if you like.
Yes, it might be helpful for sure.
Yeah. Women have to become aware of this. One of the biggest reasons is what I've already mentioned. I can't let go of the old identity in the old way because I'm going to lose love. The second one is I actually want to hold on to my fear because it actually feels like a comfort blanket. It feels like a safety blanket. If I hold on to my fear, then that's going to keep me safe from all these scary things that might happen in my life. Which doesn't really make any logical sense, but it feels real. It feels real to hold on to fear as a protective
mechanism. It feels normal, doesn't it? This is who I am, and it's who I've been for such a long time, and who the hell am I without it? Like, that could be quite terrifying for people.
It's terrifying. It's really terrifying. Who am I without the story? One of the other reasons is, particularly with healers, coaches, teachers, mentors, that kind of thing, many of them aren't ready to really let go of the story because holding on to it somehow, they feel like it makes them more relatable and more credible to the people that they're helping. Yes, I get you. I've been abused too. Yes. And there's this fear that if I completely let go of the story and completely allow myself to be free, then somehow those people won't see me as someone that they can relate to anymore.
Yeah.
Interesting one, right?
It is. It's very true. Yeah.
The other big one is obviously, I don't really want to give up being a victim because, hell, it gets me a lot of sympathy.
Yeah, it's powerful.
People who are sorry for me, and a lot of people who, come to rescue me. And guess what? I don't have to do anything. When I'm in victim, I can just sit there and say it's not my fault. And I don't have to do any work. And I don't have to risk. And I don't have to change. Right? None of this is conscious, as I said. This is deeply unconscious. But we have to bring it into our conscious awareness before we're ready to take the next step. Yeah, and what was another one? Yeah, wanting to be similar, not wanting to rock the boat, all of that kind of stuff. Oh, this one. This is one that happened with a lady I just finished working with. She followed me for 3 years. She was in a very horrible domestic violence kind of relationship filled with drugs and alcohol when she first met me. She said, "That's it. I'm ready. I'm ready." She wasn't ready. She married somebody else along the line. The whole thing started to repeat again, even though this man is not a violent man and doesn't have the drugs and alcohol bit. Her pattern was still the same. Her pattern was drama was still the same. She was experiencing the similar conflicts in that relationship. She came back to me again. "I'm ready. I'm ready." I'm like, "Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm ready." So I got her to do this little test that I get people to do to see whether they really are ready. And guess what? She failed the test spectacularly. And that was a real ego slap in the face for her because, like me, very smart, straight A student, never fails at anything. She failed this. And I said, "Yes, that's because there's something deep down inside of you that does not want to let go of this drama yet. And it's going to come to you." And she rang me not long after. She said, "You know what it is?" She said, "I get to be complex and interesting. I get to have this life that's like, oh, wow." And other people go, "Wow, it's so amazing you survived that. You're amazing," right? So she recognized that she was holding on to this complex, interesting identity. But she also recognized she was toxic. Her behavior was toxic. And it was the end of the line for her. Her marriage was on the rocks. She wasn't getting on with the stepkids. She was still fighting with her parents and her siblings from decades ago. And she was pregnant. She said, "I am not carrying this shit forward one more day. Not one more day. This is my fourth child. I'm done." Right?
Yeah.
At the end of it all, which only took three sessions, she went, "I'm so glad I chose to be healthy and happy, as opposed to holding on to my complex, interesting, yet toxic self." It's like,
look at the difference.
Two very different things, but she had to let go of everything that she knew about herself and how to show up in a relationship and how to get her needs met and all of those things in unhealthy ways. And don't get me wrong, this woman had been in therapy for years. Years.
And then she found that.
She knew all this stuff up here.
Yeah.
But she couldn't get it down here.
Yeah.
And that's because
and I think
so
that's
deeply unconscious.
Yes, and that's the reason why people come to see someone like you, because most healers, coaches, light workers, we do actually know all this stuff. We are actually thinking, yeah, this is not quite right, but there's this missing piece, and sometimes we just need that mirror beat to be held up to us and to be held accountable and to someone to call out on our bullshit, because that's what we desperately need and that's what we desperately want. And I'd love to hear about your work, and we've got about 7 minutes left, but before we do that, I know a really important piece, and you've written down here, and you mentioned that woman that was pregnant, just because I know this will hit home to a lot. How can we, like, the impact of coming to work with you and changing the nature of our relationships, how is this going to affect our children? Tell us about that. Our daughters, our sons, watching what they're growing up against.
Okay. Well, to answer that question, I have to explain to you what the signature work that I do, how that actually works.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, by the time someone's come to me, they've tried a lot of different tools, therapies, all of that stuff. And they might get some relief for a little while and feel good for a while, but inevitably they'll cycle back around. You know, that's even the simplest thing, like the fear of not being good enough, just tends to keep cycling around and around. So the work that I do now was created by a woman who specifically recognized that a lot of women are doing a lot of personal development work that is not sticking. It's not lasting for long. And she's like, why is this? Why is this? So she went on a mission and she researched for 10 years and she found three reasons. The first one is that a lot of modalities, tools, therapies, all of that stuff were originally created in the mind of a man's mind, right? That's the first step. The second thing she noticed was women and men are completely freaking different. Females, those people born with a uterus and with the capacity to create life, have access to a consciousness that men have no idea about. So therefore, females, if a female can give birth, she must have the coding in her to not only create life, but to uncreate patterns and pain and things that are stuck within us, right? She believed that we would know the answers. Can you still hear me?
Yes, my computer was about to die. I was just plugging my battery in quickly. Keep going.
Okay, so she recognized that females have an unconscious mind that males don't have. So we needed something different. And thirdly, the science of epigenetics has now proven that we inherit the pain of our ancestors and has proven we can inherit the pain of at least 11 or 12 generations back. So therefore, my anger and resentment that I talked about, I knew that it wasn't mine, but it was actually deeply embedded in my DNA, in my cells. So I needed a process that would help me to unclick that and to let that go at the root, at the very root, with the very first person who ever experienced anger and resentment in my entire bloodline. That's how far I had to go back. And I had to stop making it all about me, because it's not about me. But I have the answers within me. So when somebody does this process, which is called Creatrix, they are getting all of their own learnings about how to let go of their shit at the deepest level, and not only let it go, replace it immediately with higher learnings. And therefore the issue is resolved to the point that this work has a lasting guarantee of the results. That's how powerful it is. So it's completely different to anything else that anyone's ever created, particularly for women before. But when a woman can let go of her stuff, her own DNA and everything changes. And the women who work with me feel this. They feel the shifts and the changes that are happening on the inside, right? So all of a sudden, they can truly say to their daughters, this is how you love yourself. This is how you respect yourself. This is how you know you're good enough, because I feel it on the inside now. I'm not just saying it to my daughters, giving them advice that I don't feel myself, right? And energetically, they've changed on the inside, and their daughters feel that. And then the healing goes backwards as well. And everybody that I work with who does this says that every relationship in their life actually shifts and changes and heals. And all of the women just start to feel more free to open up and express themselves, because that woman is doing it with full integrity. She's not faking it. She's actually deeply transformed herself on the inside, and you know it and you feel it. There is a vibrational shift that raises greatly. So the person who does this kind of creatrix work is actually chopping the cord from the past cycles, letting it go and say, no, this is the way it's going to be moving forward. And I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to show you how.
Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Just so cool, because it is so true that, and I've never heard that before, that, and I think we're probably talking about cognitive behavioral therapy and those sorts of like really intellectual healing modalities that were created for a man, I'm saying. And now we've got these different elements to our work, this spiritual element, the past lives, the energetic, the quantum field. Like, we're complicated, complex creatures, and finding those hacks in life to be able to heal and transmute a whole lot quicker is where it's at, really. We're simply wasting time in this 3D reality, really. We need to be going into those deeper dimensions and doing this work to heal on a broader scale, yeah?
Right, so this is only for women who are ready to fast track. They're ready to just go, let's
Fast
just
track,
do this shit.
exactly.
Let's just do it. Bang, done, moving on.
Yes.
We're not going to
Tell
sit
us
there for the next years discussing it.
Yeah, exactly. We ain't got time for that. Tell us about your program, Natalie, and how can people find you? Tell us if they signed up to work with you, what would it look like? How would they feel?
Well, I tend to do, I offer two kind of strands. The first is I invite women who are seriously thinking about this work, but they may not be quite ready. I invite them to come and join me in a 6-week small group course called Boundary Queens, how to create meaningful connections in your life without losing yourself again, right? We go deep, and that's when all the awareness comes up about all of this stuff and how women start to communicate differently, make the changes, positive changes, and all of that. For some women, that's enough. That changes every relationship in their life. They feel like they're in control. And for some women, they know they've got that deeper stuff going on. So then they sign up to work with me for a 6-week personal breakthrough where they just talk to me on Zoom for 2 hours each week. Generally, it only takes 3 to 4 sessions to completely clear all of their issues that they've been holding on to their entire life without revisiting any trauma, without revisiting any story, without pain. It's a beautiful, beautiful, almost sacred process that's fully guaranteed. So all people have to do is go to my website, which is natalieannmurray.com. They can check out my Transform With Me page, read about that. Anyone can book a 20-minute discovery session with me about working with me one-on-one or joining my Boundary Queen course. So my next Boundary Queen course is starting January the 23rd. There's still 3 places left and an early bird special price available. So I'll put the link below for the Boundary Queen course and my website and my freebie. If someone's questioning about their boundaries, there's a freebie that'll help you work out how healthy your boundaries really are. It's all connected, right? Because if you don't start to deal with this, then you're just going around in circles. Round and round in circles. Yeah.
Exactly. Amazing. Oh my gosh. I think every woman needs to stalk Nat. And, you know, particularly even if we're not in an intimate relationship, there's obviously still stuff around mother wound, father wound, children, bosses, colleagues. Like this is relationship stuff everywhere, yeah? Which is all related.
It's everywhere. It's never one thing. It's everywhere. It's how we show up in every relationship and how serious we are about showing up in our full power, our authenticity, and ending our own suffering. It is suffering to have this inner turmoil and this head talk going all the time. That's suffering. Women, what do they get out of this? Freedom. Freedom.
Exactly. Freedom. What else do we want? And people need to be ready to make that decision of like, yes, I'm actually ready to let this shit go. Like really, this suffering, this internal victim, the darkness, the circles, because it is, you know, and you know, my work's in addiction. It is about showing up and admitting that I've got a problem. There's something here that I really want change and reaching out for help. Like this is the line where we get to.
And
prepared
to hold yourself accountable because you're the only one who can let it go.
Yeah.
I don't give any advice or do anything, but I'm very good at calling people on their bullshit and keeping them out of their own way. That's my job.
Amazing boundary gatekeeper. Thank you, beautiful Natalie. Oh my gosh, please stalk Nat. Reach out to her, grab her freebie, go and like her Facebook page, think about the Boundary Queen course or one-to-one sessions. Absolutely amazing. Like you've blown me away. The level of where you're, because I've known relationship coaches, I've done family therapy, I've been a coach in that realm, but to hear that the level that you're working at in the quantum field, in the energetic, in the past lives and owning our shit, like that's it. There is no other work like this. I think absolutely incredible. Thank you, Nat. Is there one little final sentence you'd like to end on? One little final message?
Final sentence. I think every woman has the power to be who they really, really are if they want to take it. If they want to take it. And when you choose to take it, everything changes. And that facing the illusion of fear that you're going to lose love is the most courageous thing you're ever going to do in your life. But when you do it, the complete opposite happens. More love comes in, more respect comes in, more connection comes in. It's the complete opposite. But you just got to have the courage to take a leap of faith.
Yes. Amazing. Take it with Nat. Amazing. Thank you, beautiful. What an honor and a privilege to sit with you today. Mwah.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.